Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down the sideline.
It's the 49er Faithful UK show. Week 1 is done, and it brings with it our old friend Victory Monday. The season starts with a bang and a borderline blowout win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, 30 points to 7. I'm Gareth Ellis, and I'm joined by some very smiley faces. It's Lee Gowland.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Paul Hope.
Victory Monday, boys. Yes.
Victory Monday. And Najee Karar.
Hello, everyone.
So, lads, you all enjoyed the game. I don't think I even need to ask that question. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? I've missed the NFL. Don't know about you.
Yeah, it's been great.
Good way to start the season. And I think, hopefully, those of you who have done your homework have prepared 3 bullet points or 3 words to sum up the game and sum up your talking points. Let's start with Najee. He looks over-prepared.
That's not how we describe it. I was on holiday for the weekend. No, I had just a 3 word, which are clean, methodical destruction. That's what I came up with.
I think you've gone for the minimalist approach as well.
Yeah,
I did,
definitely. It was a truly dominant performance across all phases of the ball. So, what more can you say?
I like that.
And Lou, carefully crafting all day.
Yeah, dominant D-line, unbreakable linebackers, potent offense.
Very good point.
Good. That's pretty good. I think I misunderstood my own challenge there and did something slightly differently there. What I've got is a McCaffrey and BA take it all the way. Saxon picks, he won't move in the sticks. And finally, perfect Purdy picks apart Pittsburgh, punishing Patrick Peterson.
Well done.
That was good.
Well done.
That was very, very good.
I did not have a beer earlier.
Or a fireball,
in the
clearly.
Discord. Or a fireball, yeah. In the Discord, we had a Kenny Pickett, yes, you can, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that.
That is good.
That was good. I can't remember who said it, but credit to Discord, which, by the way, was pretty good. I mean, when we win big, it's always fun to be on the game thread, but that one was I was in and out because I was on my phone trying to watch the game, and it wasn't practical for me to be in, but
so funnily enough, off the back of Discord, because that's a little segue into a complete rabbit hole that we'll go down straight away before we get into the actual game.
Wouldn't be a show otherwise.
We might have a little bit of a trial next week. So when I set up the official watch party for the Browns game, Facebook took it on itself to create a chat.
Yeah.
And what I noticed last night was, the first thing I noticed was, it was bloody annoying that it kept on coming up when we were trying to watch the start of the game on my iPhone, because the thunder and lightning had knocked out Sky. And the second thing I thought, that actually works quite well as a game day thread, because it's all in chronological order, and you can see it very easily.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be worth a try next week as the game day thread, to create a chat room like that.
Yeah, apologies, I had to shut it down because it was something that we have to monitor, those kind of thing. Obviously, when it goes well, it's fine. When it doesn't, it's not fine. Trust us, we've been there. So we have to be able to keep an eye on it. This is why I shut it down. It wasn't the intent of annoying people. It's just because we have a brand of doing things here, and we're trying to do that. So apologies for the people that were using it, but sounds like, and I think it's a good idea. We're gonna do that next week. And see where it takes us. The more the better, isn't it? The more people are engaging with the platform, the better it is.
That does sound like a good use of that little unwanted feature on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, we'll tee that up, I think, on the next episode. Where should we start? I'm going to start with Brock Purdy. He's pretty good, isn't he?
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. I mean, I have no words for how good. Yeah, no, it's clean and methodical. It was beautiful to watch. I love the guy. Absolutely. The train, by the way, if you don't have your ticket for the Brock Express, was left the station last year. we didn't stop, and we keep on going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Go on,
he
Paul.
looked.
No, sorry. Got it.
Yeah, he looked pretty poised. It was. I think everybody probably felt relieved more than anything else because we weren't quite sure what to expect from his elbow. I don't think he showed any arm fatigue at all. There was maybe one throw he made, and I can't quite get my head around whether or not he was trying to throw it low or he just didn't have the arm strength to do it. But as it happens, it fell flat anyway. It didn't cause any issues. His decision making was reasonably okay. He held onto the ball too often. I think the fumbles could have been avoided if he'd get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. Obviously, the first one he got back himself.
That was fun.
Yeah, and to be honest, the second one I've got a problem with the second one as well because that should have been a flag for helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, we get used to that as a 49er fan. I think every team gets crappy calls like that, but it really annoys us when it happens against us, obviously. But yeah, I thought he showed a lot of poise. I'm really excited to see how he grows into the season as he gets his fitness back, and obviously he gets more reps with the ones. So yeah, really excited for a quarterback that came out the 7th round.
Yeah. I think the thing is, that's his what 9th game, was it? 6th start? No, 7th game. What?
Yeah.
I can't even remember. He's only going to get better.
Yeah.
It's incredible how good he is and what he does. I'm so looking forward to watching him play. Go on,
Tell you
Paul.
what was interesting last night, chaps. You all know I'm in a group chat with non-Niners fans, and they've been beating me with the stick about Brock Purdy. Is he a system QB? And I think everyone was saying the Steelers defense, the real deal. Brock's not going to be able to handle it. And he looked exactly like he did at the end of 2022. And I can't believe it was 6 months since the surgery. I mean, got the stats, Gareth, 66% of his throws, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was scrambling out of the pocket, which all Niners fans, our hearts were like, get down, get down. That back shoulder fade to Ayuk.
Oh,
I mean, Patrick
beautiful.
Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow throws that. It's on loop on Good Morning Football. I've had a few people trying to take away from Purdy, but that throw was unbelievable. And it was against Patrick Peterson, who'd been talking a bit of trash. I love as well the social media element, Gareth. I've checked in online today, and the team are all behind all the players. They're sharing posts of Purdy with him on his nameplate, number 13. Purdy himself spoke like a 10-year vet to the reporting team afterwards, which it's just shown the confidence. And we've all seen the photo today when he's doing the whole pointing at the face and he's giving it all the confidence. What can you say, Gareth, about BCB? We've got our quarterback, he's QB1, and we put a dominant performance on, like I said at the start. So I'm smiling. I'm just hoping Lee might drop the F-bomb at some point today during the show, because I know he's determined not to.
He has to.
Yeah,
I'm not. It's deserving of it.
No, I mean, Brock Purdy was absolutely fabulous.
Nice dodge.
Go on, Gareth. Tell us what you thought.
There's something about the way our whole offense looks. It looks easy. He made it look easy because it's simple. Shanahan knows how to get the players open, and he knows where they're going to be open, and he knows how to get the ball to him, and it's simple. And he executes it perfectly. I just sat and marvelled. Yeah, there's a few lumps and bumps, but particularly in the second half of a game that's looking like it's won, you always get that kind of funny part of a game like that where people aren't quite sure whether should we keep playing it or. But I was impressed. It's every time he goes on the field, he's just more and more impressed. And I just hope that continues. But he was supported by a pretty able cast. Brandon Ayuk, should we start with him? 2 touchdowns, big game.
Start here, yeah. I mean, strengths to strengths to strengths to strengths. That's the 5th year in a row he gets better. Obviously, the season is early, but it just looks better and better and better the more he plays and the more he's with us. contract year for him. So that's going to cost us some peanuts again, and quite a lot of it probably. But probably worth it if we can afford it. And it looks like our cap is pretty big, so we might be able to keep him, which is amazing. I don't think he'll be one of the guys that Lee talks about that we might get rid of by the end of the season. He's been too reliable, and I think the connection with Brock is really strong. The back shoulder throw is pinpoint, and Brandon knew exactly where the ball was. To be fair to Peterson, that was great defending. There's not a lot else he could do better, and yeah, it was a beautiful touchdown. I think I bought his jersey for a reason. I knew he was going to be good, and he's delivering every week. So, and it's a pick your poison offense, isn't it? This week was BA, and another name we shall mention soon. And then he might disappear for a couple of games. I'm sure it will happen, but we know he's got that kind of game in him. Eight catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Beautiful. Yeah, I love him. He's great.
Can anyone follow that with anything?
Well, I don't want to particularly talk about him because I left him on my bench on my fantasy team. He would have scored us 32 points in that league.
Yeah, well, boo. I mean, you should trust Brandon. Come on.
Yeah.
All I was going to say, Gareth, is it was a cheat code last night. You talked about the target distribution, Nadji. He had only 8 targets. When you look at the list, Debo had 7, Kittle had 6, McCaffrey had 5. But what was more impressive was the 129 yards, Gareth. The fact that he caught all 8, 16.1 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns, and yet that's not what I'm smiling about. That pancake block for CMC just shows what you have to do to be a wide receiver. And before we move on, it was interesting, Nadji, that apparently for BA's first touchdown, Debo was the hot read. He was the first option, apparently, and Brock said after the game, the fact that the way it looked he was covered and Ayuk made Peterson slip over, it's shown that Brock as well is going through his progressions, which is something we used to have a knock on Jimmy. The fact that Debo was supposed to be his hot read, yet he went to Ayuk. And, I rocked number 11 last night, Nadji, in the casino. I wore it for a reason, and I had him in all my fantasy teams, unlike Lee, because I knew he was going to go off.
Smart man.
Yeah, he's turning into some player, isn't he? A proper WR1. And like you said, that connection with Brock, they seem to have perhaps put some of that time in. They just seem, sometimes you just get that, don't you? The quarterback and the receiver just immediately understand what each other's going to do. And that's boding well. Usually, a guy with Ayuk's performance would be the standout man of the match, I would think, or MVP. But he had some pretty stiff competition from Christian McCaffrey, who churned out 150 odd yards. How good is he going to get? Can he get better in this offense? Are we going to see this every week?
I hope so. Ayuk was the MVP in the Discord thread, by the way. I think deservedly so. I mean, I know CMC had a great game, but Ayuk set the tone from the first snap. So somebody talk about CMC. Come on.
Well, what I think was impressive, Nadji, is shows what we know. We talked about Jordan Mason getting more starts, CMC not being used as the workhorse, and yes, that touchdown run, Gareth, we were all up on our feet up in Stockton, the 5 of us that were there. But it was the fact, Nadji, that we were efficient. We did what Kyle Shanahan does. We set that rushing attack up. We were methodical. And I read an article last week, Gareth, about CMC saying that when he came last year, he just wanted to go through the first hole that he saw. And they've had to really work with him to say, just let it develop. And I think you saw that on the touchdown run where he didn't attack the first gap. He waited, then the spin move. And that sounds stupid. I'm not a running back. I'm not an expert. But the fact that CMC last year was saying, I've still got a bit more work to do. And it just shows how we set up. And I think when we said dominant at the start, Gareth, the Steelers' defense are not one to be laughed at. Yet they had no answers. And it was just a shame that I'm sat here looking a bit silly saying Jordan Mason was going to start, but 23 is 100% my next jersey purchase. What he does on the field, Nadji, I'm just in awe of what he does. But long may it continue. What do you say, Gareth? 151 yards and it felt like we could probably take our foot off the gas a little bit in the second half.
Yeah.
Which is a scary thought for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of expected that was going to be better this year than what was last year, because he's had the whole of the off season to actually learn the full playbook. And Shanahan always said last year he's only going to open up certain players for him until he gets used to the playbook. So he's got all the players now. So can he get better? I think as long as he plays at his high level, he doesn't really need to get any better. It's just consistency and staying fit, staying healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's kind of looking good now for going over 2,000 yards, which was one of my bold predictions. So I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, coming back to the point that he's injured all the time, and the fact that we kept him in the game despite being up, 20 points, 21 points, and Mitchell had, hang on, let me find the snap count exact. Didn't have that many, 10 snaps, and CMC had 58. So I think that shows a lot of the trust that we have that. That's not the guy he is. He's that good, and he's built all right now that we can keep him. Even the game's over, we can keep him in. So, and then him obviously putting a performance like this is just, that run was insane. But he's also providing the fear from the defense. The defense knows that it can come at any time, and that just opens up everything for everyone. I do want to mention George Kittle in that conversation with CMC, because I think he's such a good blocker. On that touchdown, George is in there, and then obviously later Ayuk and Ray McLeod on the back end as well. Outstanding work. It's a team effort when you got good running back, rushing attack anyway. I mean, CMC just makes it that little more easy. But God, yeah, he's good. He's very, very good. Yeah.
I don't know if you chaps had the Sky Sports coverage on, which me and Lee did, and Phoebe Schechter and Neil Reynolds were talking in the stadium. There was one point where Neil Reynolds had done his homework and he was talking to Phoebe Schechter about Shanahan moving the pieces around and being a very advanced system. And Phoebe was like, it's actually quite basic when you drill it down. It just has key pieces. Everyone does their job. And it was just nice to see Shanahan cooking. And he looked quite calm on the sideline. And I think the fact that he's got the number one defense, the fact that the offense plays like that must just take another team's soul away. And like you said, Najee, a lot of the knock on Kittle versus Kelsey is Kittle as a blocker. But that's what we need in this game. So no arguments for me. Long may it continue. Another 30 points. And the emotional roller coaster, I don't even think it got out the station this week, did it, chaps?
No. Some people started questioning it on Discord. Do you guys have Detroit Lions 2019 feel? And I just never had it. Not in that game. It looked too easy, didn't it? And they really struggled, which we'll talk in a bit later. But it looked, it's just so nice to be on third and manageable, or even on third and long, but knowing that he's just gonna complete it. It's 4th and 2, and it's the first drive of the game. That's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. It's a nice feeling. These people, easy games. I've been craving for these for a few years now, asking for easy Sundays. Really enjoyed that one.
It was great to see the offensive side of the ball rolling so smoothly and efficiently, and that was matched, I think, by the defensive side of the ball. Carried on where they left off last year. Don't seem to have missed a beat, and certainly gave what people had fancied as a much improved Pittsburgh offense a bit of a tough time in the first half, especially. I think a distinct lack of first downs. I think they got the first down at the end of the first down at the end of the second quarter. I think that sums it up. I mean, who can you pick out this defense? I was thinking of what it must be like being an offensive coordinator. Where do you pick the weakness in this defense? Where there isn't one. What else did you see on as the Pittsburgh Steelers tried and failed to unpick this defense?
We're going to talk about All-Pro Fred
discipline.
Not his pick 6.
Yeah, I'll go down to discipline. if anything.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of flags. I think it was 110 yards.
Yeah, it's week 1 though.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he asked for a weakness. At the moment, that's the weakness because every position group played well. The linebackers was just out of this world. I couldn't believe how solid they were. Excellent. The top 6 graded players were all on the defensive line. And I wouldn't care for me, who I actually thought had stood out to me. He was number 6 out of those players, and it was Eric Armstead.
Yeah,
and I thought he was
Armstead
absolutely I thought he absolutely played fabulous.
Oh, he said it. That counts. That counts. I'm putting it.
That only goes down as half a point, mind.
I'm putting a 1. That definitely counts.
That only goes down as half a point. Can't believe I did that.
Oh, it's gonna happen. You can't. It's a game. Yeah, no, you're right. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
We can be here and talk about sack numbers and Drake Jackson busting free and all that, but if you watch the sacks, most of them are either created by Hargrave or Armstead, creating havoc, pushing Pickett out of the pocket, and then Drake Jackson swiping it up, which, I had a bold prediction about Drake Jackson going to the Pro Bowl anyway.
You did.
It's not a bad way to start with 3 sacks. I was quite impressed with Clayton Farrell, who rotated a lot for Bosa because they played about the same amount of snaps each. But he played really, really well too.
So he was the second highest graded defender.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I thought he made a really big impact, especially when they tried to run the ball, and he did put a lot of pressure in Pickett's face too. I think this might be the best D-line we've ever had, and not just because of Hargrave. I think if Armstead can play like that, and essentially Bosa was non-existent. He didn't really do that much, I thought, apart from just being him and being annoying, obviously. But yeah, if people can turn up, on the defensive line performance like this, I think we're gonna be all right. Kerry Hyder showed up, even though I slated him, and I think I had him cut in my last 53, so apologies for that. But yeah, where do you go? They're all outstanding. It's good to see Drake Jackson getting the snaps and the sacks. I can't speak. The sacks.
Paul, save him.
Well, I think what amazed me the most is the fact that we shut down the run. So a lot of people listening to this show play fantasy football. Najee Harris, the Steelers, you take him in your first round. The Steelers want to play very similar, use the run to take the pressure off Kenny Pickett. If you listen to Najee's extensive scouting report, you knew their offensive coordinator wasn't going to bring any kind of whistles and bells like what Shanahan does. And the fact the box score reads 10 rushes for 41 yards. And we talked in the preview about Hargrave and Armstead together. Like you said, Najee, it's always great to see 97 out there, but he was a non-factor. I was pleased for Drake Jackson. He showed well last year, faded away a little bit. But I've seen a tweet that I've just pulled up on my phone. I follow a Steelers fan. I did a show a few months ago. The Steelers fan had a cheeky bet with me that if we lost, it was a forfeit. And he's tweeted out that he's not worried about his Steelers at the moment. However, the 49ers, and I mean it when I say this, may be looking at one of the most dominant defensive years of all time. And then he listed the 85 Bears, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Steelers. And I thought, we take it for granted because we were the number 1 defense last year. Their one touchdown came up because we kind of played a bit of soft coverage. I think Thomas and Lenore weren't great in that instance. Yeah. But we slammed our foot back down on the throat. And we all talked about our score predictions, which we'll get to, because Mr. Gowland was very competitive, everyone, may I add. And there was a moment in the game, Najee, where Jake Moody was lining up to kick, and the rumours were that certain El Presidente was going, miss, because he was getting that competitive about his scores. But we'll get on to that in a moment. But this defence, just pick your poison. I'm just smiling from ear to ear. And Lee, I will let you off with at least half a point, but you nearly said fantastic. Now that was nearly BMC, but not Armstead.
No, I didn't get the end of it out there.
You said it. I'll count it.
Yeah, it's definitely half a point, that one. Yeah. So somebody that kind of went under the radar was Yvonne Kinlaw, and he had his best game since his rookie season. Statistically, his best game. He had a 72 overall rating. He was
24
on
snaps.
24 snaps. He was on limited snaps. He had 2 hurries and a run stop, and he did actually look a lot better than what we've seen him in the last couple of years. Obviously, we went through training camp, and all the players, as well as the coaches, were all trying to big him up a little bit. Obviously, he's in a contract year as well, so it's in his best interest to give it 110%. And hopefully he does step up and becomes that player that we thought he would become. I think he's gone next year, regardless of whether or not he does play well, but it'll be interesting to see if we do get one really good season out of him.
Yeah, hopefully he will. Hopefully he'll stay fit. And learn from the players around him and benefit from having those players around him.
I kind of put him in the same category of all the, all those linemen that we keep signing up for 1-year contract every year, the Givens and the Hyder, and all of those guys. I think he might have a year like that where we didn't actually expect too much from him, and it turns out at the end of the year we're like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. If signed back us, with us, it'll be a nice thing. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen because he's quite young and somebody will snap him. Saleh, somebody like that. But yeah, that's what I'm expecting from him now. He did play really well. I think it's a lot easier when you have Hargrave and Farrell and Bosa and Drake Jackson playing the way they did. Yeah. We should talk secondary. There was actually quite a lot of information and news. Interesting development. Isaiah Oliver actually played the same amount of snap as Ambry Thomas in the slot, which I think was pretty interesting and played pretty well. I think I had my eye on him every time he walked on, and I don't know if maybe he just doesn't care about preseason, and now he's just cranked it up a notch. But yeah, the whole secondary played excellent. Obviously, 2 picks, should have been free Fred. But 2 picks.
Should have been 4, Fred.
Should have been, well, of course.
Because he had 2. He had 2 that he could have easily caught.
Yeah, and the deflection to Hoff, didn't he? So, but yeah, apart from Lenoir's silly penalties on that drive that
should never have been a penalty. That should never have been a penalty.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry, that one was definitely a penalty. Yeah, I mean, there's no getting wrong. No, I'm talking about the illegal contact because he's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He was within 5 yards and he's allowed. He's still allowed to touch the man.
I mean,
he's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's the rule.
You win some, you lose some, and those kind of call. Give them 7 points. It doesn't ultimately matter, but. It's more the tackle out of bounds. Because come on, man, this is the kind of thing that loses you games when it's tight.
I mean, I'm not complaining. It got me 2 points.
Exactly.
Not that he's competitive, everyone.
No, not at all.
I had to sit next to him on Sunday. The only thing about the penalties is we sat here a year ago about Greenlaw and the Bears game. And Greenlaw was a bit sloppy. Hopefully, Lenoir bounces back because, like you said, a shutout would have been awesome because they weren't scoring in a month of Sundays the way they were playing. Like you said, Gareth, that I think their first down end of the second half, and we'd predicted quite a close game because we'd listened to all the experts. We should just go our gut. But yes, I had to sit next to Lee. He had the spreadsheet on his phone, and let me tell you, none of us are touching that spreadsheet apart from him.
I'm gonna look. I think you need to put a pin on it, Gareth. Lock it once it's done.
Oliver wearing 26 is confusing because automatically you think of Warmack. And you're right, he did play better. Ward played well, given that there was some concerns with his injury before the game. Nothing major, but I did like Hufanga. What did you make of his rugby-style pass, Najee? Just needed to get it a little bit behind it.
It was this close to be so hard to do that speed, and it was a good attempt. I liked it, and it really shows the way the team is set up, right? don't care. Don't care about scoring touchdowns. Just give it to your friend. He's right there, and it's better for the whole team. I just love the mentality of that defense. We took their soul from the first snap and just didn't let it go. And they had nothing. And, Nigeria's played pretty well. 8 carries. They just couldn't run the ball because they were behind so early. And Pickens made an incredible catch too. I think they're really good. I think they're going to get better for sure. But I'm not sure about Pickett. I think he's got a lot of work to do. But yeah, they weren't expecting us to be that good that soon, and we made them pay for it. Even Tomlin said, "Didn't see that coming." That was dominant to say the least. Yeah, more of the whole season, please, and it's going to be super fun to watch.
I think I was just about to say, I think we've kind of ignored the one player that the whole fan base want us to talk about.
Reno.
Colton McKivitz.
Oh, I mean, we were going to come back to talk about all the things.
Well,
right?
we've moved smoothly into some areas to work on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a good place to start.
Well, let's talk Greenlaw real quick before we go there, whilst we're on defense. How good is he? He was everywhere. He was, and those tackles. I mean, that one, you got a bit lucky on that tackle on the sideline. The head, neck, there's a bit. But, yeah, he's so good. I hope we can. I think he's in a contract year too, isn't it? Because we signed him for 2 years.
Yeah, it was only 2 years ago.
Yeah. So again, it's going to be difficult to keep all of these people around, but I think he's.
Hang on, isn't this his first year of the extension? Because he was already. Because he was already in contract last year.
Oh, okay. Right.
So we extended him back into September.
One more, but I mean, even longer than this. I think this is the kind of guy I hope and I wish he can stay with us for his entire career. And I know players don't really tend to do this nowadays, and it's a shame. But if we can keep those two forever, at Bowman Willis type kind of, it would be amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Greenlaw. More of that, please.
Yeah, definitely. So,
and Oren Burks is actually the third linebacker in the group. Depth sharp wise, he played something like 8 or 10 snaps behind those two. It's interesting. I didn't think he would be. I thought it would be Flanagan fall, but looks like Burks has taken the job. It's good to see that they're fighting for. It makes us better. So.
Right, Colton McKivitz.
Go on, Emily.
So I understand the fan base turning around and pointing out that he didn't have a particularly good game. A lot of people seem to forget that's his very first game at right tackle. He was going up against the 3 times All-Pro defensive end, who was 1 year removed from being Defensive Player of the Year. He only allowed five quarterback pressures. Now, if that was Bosa, we'd be expecting Bosa to get 9, 10, 11 quarterback hurries, quarterback pressures. And I think that's not bad for where we took him. He's a 5th round pick.
True.
Yeah. Playing his very first game at right tackle against the 3 times All-Pro. I thought for that value pick, we got decent value out of that. He played to the level that you would expect him to play. Now, with it being his first game at right tackle, I think he'll improve. I think there's room there for improvement. I think people are being a bit premature to say we need to get rid of him. I think the fact that Burford didn't have the best of games was purely because McKivitz was getting bullied during the game. I think once McKivitz gets a little bit more experience and progresses a little bit, that'll shore up the right guard position as well. I think Spence Burford would definitely benefit from that. So yeah, I mean, I understand it. He looked poor. And
but dare I say,
was poor, but he's got room for improvement.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest game he's going to play this year, right? Until we get to the playoffs and beyond.
Until next week, and he comes up against Aaron Donald.
Well, Donald plays more interior, and it's more of a team effort, isn't it? Like as a pure one-on-one matchup, I'm not sure who else we're going to play that's as good as TJ Watt, because he is very, very good. There's no doubt about that. He's awesome. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumble. Despite all that, they couldn't do anything. But imagine that your first start as right guard, right tackle. You have to go against that guy. The one concern I have is the run blocking grade that he got, and we didn't really run well his way at all. There was a couple of good ones, but we mostly ran well, obviously towards Trent. But yeah, I think he's gonna, because if we have to kind of do the comparison with McGlinchey, because he's a pure replacement. If McGlinchey, yes, wasn't good in the pass protection, but when we were running his side, and we were going. So he's gonna have to improve in either of those two if we wanna have a shot at having a job next year, and unless we draft, of course. But yeah, no, I didn't think it was that bad. The game didn't. I mean, he didn't need to have the best of games. That's the thing. The game was in the bag pretty early on, so makes it a lot easier. But yeah, will keep an eye on him, see if he improves.
I think why it stood out, Nadji, is the sacks came from his side. And like Lee said, we saw a few murmurings on social media, but I also saw, Lee, those murmurings from the Broncos fans because McGlinchey got paid handsomely. And I've seen a couple of clips where McGlinchey didn't do so well protecting Russell Wilson. But it's his first game. We've won in a dominant performance. So it's one that I'm not overly worried about at the moment. But I had seen the tweet, Lee, where it says he's playing Donald next week. And then there's a guy for the Giants whose name there's no way I can pronounce. So I'm not even going to try. And then you look at the list, he's going to get better and better, hopefully. And if not, and some restructuring, we've got draft capital, dare I say it, we've got some picks to use next year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I don't think we're going to touch much of that cap space at all. I think we're going to carry that over.
Yeah, we need it for bosses in 2 or 3 years.
We'll need it for Ayuk.
And we'll need it for Ayuk, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's nice to have a bit of spare cash for working in the season if something becomes available, doesn't it? I don't suppose we thought McCaffrey was going to be available at the start of the season, so you never know quite how it goes. I didn't think McKivitz had a terrible game either, given who he was up against. I think you're right. It's TJ Watt's 3 sacks, therefore McKivitz must have had a bad game. And I think what makes a lot of right tackles look like they're having a bad game. And if that's going to be the best guy he's got to face for the next few weeks, then I think he held his own well. He wasn't a liability, and I don't think he gave away a penalty either. So certainly not a false start. So he seems to have some composure, because obviously you see that if you've given up a couple of sacks, tends to follow that player might well start doing the odd false start penalty or holding penalty as well. So yeah, something to improve on, I think, and we are picking holes. So because that's about all we can really find to pick holes in, other than I think the penalties in general. But it is week 1, and this has happened before, and we know we can clean those up. So I'm not hugely concerned. Your player watch. This could be quite quick.
I was just about to say the same thing.
How did your guy do?
So Sammy Womack had 9 snaps, all on special teams. He had 1 tackle, and he's almost unfortunate enough to cause a muffed punt because the ball hit him in the back as he was running down.
Yeah, that was a bit.
Yeah, luckily enough,
poison. So
yeah, I think it was Ray who picked it up. And yeah,
it bounced off him, picked it up.
Yeah,
got a few yards off. That was lucky. Yeah,
but yeah, quite dear for Sammy.
Well, it's not the Ronnie Bell breakout show. The number 10 isn't hung up there. The number 11 is. My boy took 7 snaps. He made no mistakes because I don't think we even got
good way looking at
direction. However, he saw the field, so promising start. But yeah, unfortunately, when I screenshot it earlier, 0-0-0-0, apart from the snap count. But we're not sat here saying he dropped the ball or made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, it's better than my guy. My guy didn't even get on the field. Jordan Mason didn't play. But with Mitchell getting 10 snaps, I think it's interesting how you're going to go about that. And I'll keep an eye on that. And if this carries on and he gets no work at all, which is weird, I will have to pick somebody else.
I thought it was odd that we didn't see him for at least 2 or 3 carries towards the end of the game there.
Yeah.
Given that he is the closer or the
The
finisher.
finisher, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, other than a couple of the penalties you mentioned, my guy Diomedor Lenore had quite a game. 10 tackles, led both sides with that. 8 solo tackles. I think you're right. The 5-yard defensive holding could have gone either way. I did think at first look, I thought, oh no, it's not giving away those stupid late hit penalties. When I watched it back, I don't know that there's a lot he could really do. He's kind of going over. He's gone in a little bit recklessly, but I don't think he really went to hit the player. I think he's going over, and he can't really avoid the collision. The two players come together. You're always going to get flagged. I've got no argument with that. But on second glance, I didn't think it was as a stupid a penalty as when I first saw it. I thought he's committed to it, and the guy's getting hit. Sorry, you're out of bounds, but deal with it. So I thought he had quite a good game, which is in stark contrast to the score predictions competition, which possibly Lee would like to introduce. Can you even get it on the screen for those watching us?
I'll do it. I can do it. I've got it right there. Boom.
Right. Do you have the spreadsheet, or do you have the actual web page? It's the web page that we want.
I've got a spreadsheet.
Right.
Which is
I'll get the web page, because the spreadsheet you start clicking into the cells and all sorts happen. Right, where are we at?
And he wouldn't like any mistakes to happen, everyone. No, he doesn't.
He's winning, isn't he? So no one touching it.
A new law for the show when he's booing Jake Moody. 100% record there we had there, and he was booing our kicker.
Not boo Jake Moody.
We'll get to Jake Moody in a minute. We need to talk about him.
Yeah, well, I think we should talk about Jake now while Lee's
let's
around his spreadsheet. Yeah, exactly the game he needed. Perfect game. 3 extra points, 3 field goals, 2 in 40 yards. The ones we kind of expected from the days of Robbie Gold, that they're pretty much bankers if we can get something like 46, 47-yard field goal. Most of the time, I haven't been worried about them going over. Thought he had a composed game, and particularly with that slightly messed up sequence with the blocked field goal attempt to Mish Wisnowski, I thought he was going to run it in, and it was all run back. But I think they timed out as well, tried to ice him. So I think
they did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good performance.
Yeah, and straight down the middle, pretty much. Clean, confident kicking. That's what I want to see. Obviously, we're going to need to see more of that before it becomes something we don't even gloss over and something automatic. But yeah, no, much better than his first outing, that's for sure. But Paul, you're the Moody guy. Happy? You got to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, 3 for 3 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. The only knock on special teams, Gareth, would be because he's not 100% fit. Mitch had to do some of the kickoffs, and some didn't make it. And the Steelers nearly brought a couple back. But I think once Moody's fully fit, we'll see. That's why he's being brought in as well, because it negates that kind of return game. But yeah, Najee, obviously we had a bit of joke on social media because we were high on him on our mock draft show. But like you said, there was a bit of talk, a bit of a worry, Gareth, coming into this game. It might be an issue.
I was going to say.
And it wasn't. So because Ronnie Bell wasn't there, I had to find something to talk about, chaps. Come on, Lee. You've got it there ready on the screen. Come on.
So what do you want us to do? Talk about the way it...
Well, I mean, I think somebody needs to answer to their prediction.
To Gareth. I mean, that is just shocking, that Gareth.
What's going on here, Gareth? No,
it's a very simple answer. We've put this into the show as a news segment. We're hoping that people might follow it and take a bit of fun throughout the season. And to be honest, I felt that you guys need a bit of a help. I don't want to run away with the league by like week 5, week 6. So to try and keep it interesting, try and keep the the engagement up on the show, I thought I'll give you guys a bit of a head start.
Well,
so that's my answer.
If it makes you feel any better, Gareth, a 50 burger in week 3. It is more likely now after the score last night.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah, I think the whole takeaway of this is how dare we doubt Brock and this team. We scored 30 every time when he played, and none of us went for 30. And I mean, some of us are paying more than others. But yeah, Paul said we should listen to our heart and not to the pundits that thought the Steelers were a good team. I think they are, just not yet. Not on Sunday anyway. But yeah.
Just goes to
So
show
yeah,
you
for the
pre-season.
yeah,
A lot of
exactly.
people said the Steelers were the team. There was a lot of hype from their own media, and like you said, I mean, Lee, you nearly on episode 1, you were close, weren't you, buddy? Because you nearly got the right score.
I did, yeah. I nearly got the right
7
score.
points. So for the people that don't have the video, it's Lee got 7 points, predicting 27-13. Paul got 7 points too, which doesn't matter how you get it. 28-21. And I got 5 points with 21-20, just finding the winner. And then Gareth unshamelessly at the bottom, predicting a loss.
What's 0 points in French?
0 point. Not 0 point. That's only for the Eurovision. Only for the Eurovision.
I don't even deserve Eurovision standard.
Nope.
Hopefully next week I will break my duck and get off the bottom of the table. But my hopes aren't high. Anyway,
I was on a roll as well. I predicted a Detroit win, which happened. I was very close to the score too, and
I think the lesson I've learned is as the season goes on, Lee will definitely be using that spreadsheet, making his predictions, where I'm just going to come in and go, Niners win every week, where Lee's going to put a little bit more thought into it. So it was very interesting sat next to him, watching him check the spreadsheet on his phone.
It's going to be fun.
Not that he's competitive at all.
No, not at all.
This was supposed to be a bit of fun, Lee.
It is fun.
Yeah, winning is fun.
Speaking of fun, some typical week 1 results from around the league. Any of those results give you something to smile about?
Yeah, the Seahawks lost. I told you they were a bad team. They lost bad as well, which yeah. It's week 1. Who knows? I urge people to watch the Dolphin-Chargers game. That was very good.
It was a good game. Yeah, I watched that when I eventually got home.
I'm not changing my prediction, but I would love to see that again in the AFC Championship. Dolphins, Chargers, and the Dolphins' game plan of seeming to get 20 to 40 yards on every play.
Yeah,
it
was
a fun game. To watch.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I think the Falcons are real though. I'm high on them this year. And they looked really good. I know Panthers aren't maybe the best team to beat around, but yeah.
The only thing I missed from this week, Gareth, was I was at a mini watch party. Didn't have Reds going on. I'm looking forward to Sunday with Hanson doing the whole 7 hours commercial-free football. And I haven't fully caught up around the league, but my friend who's a Cowboys fan, Najee, is definitely very hyped after that performance. One, because it got him 35 points from his fantasy team for defense only. And when I looked at Dak Prescott's fantasy score, I thought, how have they won that game? Because I obviously hadn't watched it. I didn't stay up for it. But the NFL is back. Let's just go to the show. The experts don't always know what they're talking about. And yes, my friend who's a Seahawks fan is very bitter that we won and they didn't.
Yeah, this is fun. I love when that happens.
Anything from you, Lee? Anything catch your eye?
Not really. I mean, the only game I got to see was the second half of the Dolphins-Chargers game, which was a fabulous game.
Yeah.
Other than that, no. I mean, looking at the scores. So I went and read about the Seahawks Rams. I was over the moon with that score. Hopefully the Lions turn them over next week as well, just to make my ticket price a little bit cheaper for Thanksgiving. That would be absolutely ideal if that happens.
Booed off at week 1, I think, at Lumen.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Wonderful.
So I think the first chance they've got of a win would be in week 3, where they've got a home game against the Panthers. But it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed because, as Najee said, and as I've said before, I think last year's win-loss column for the Seahawks flattered them quite a bit.
I agree. The Bengals lost. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Week 1. I
Joe
think
Burrow benched.
Week 1, weird stuff. We'll see. I think if we want to conclude here,
We are.
week one's always weird in the NFL, but our win didn't feel like a week one. Oh, what happened kind of thing.
Yeah,
We looked as
business
good as we
usual.
did last year. Yeah, but just we went there, took care of business. They didn't show up, to be fair. I think the game could have been a lot more competitive. And I think I was right saying probably the best time to play teams like the Steelers is week one, early on when they haven't quite figured out what they're doing. But yeah, I don't think we're an anomaly. This looked too good and just exactly like it looked like it last year. So confidence is very high.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary to end on, Nadji, unless you guys have got any other final thoughts to top that.
Nope, none from me.
Me neither. So thanks, lads. Thanks to everyone that enjoys the show. Don't forget you can like, comment, subscribe and share and do all of that sort of stuff. We will be back later in the week to look forward to our annual visit to Levi South as we face the, yes, it's true, unbeaten Rams. Until then, go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all with prime time. John Taylor, Jerry Rice down.